Tikiri tikiri liya kalit aran lidat giya linda watakara kabare goya kakulaka pidiya baniya.
Here is the Ceylon or Day's killifish, one of two killifish species endemic to Sri Lanka, characterized by a white spot on their forehead. The local name associates them with the moon. We see here a pair where the male is brighter than the female, and sometimes there is a black spot on the dorsal fin. Notice that the male is iridescently greenish in tone. Further south in Sri Lanka, based on a research report highlighted in the graphics in this video and the links below, is Werner's killifish. Werner's killifish is the second endemic species of killifish in Sri Lanka. Our pond where we are filming these killifish is somewhat fetid and located very close to a brackish lagoon in southern Sri Lanka. We will be spending much time in this small fetid pond that is relatively shallow with mud on the bottom and lots of leaf debris. The water is likely to be somewhat acidic and the temperature is around 26 to 30 degrees. This pond offers a good opportunity to film Werner's killifish in the wild in Sri Lanka, as it has not similarly been adequately filmed before. There are also guppies, a common introduced species from South America to control mosquito larvae. The Werner's killifish and guppies will be the two main species of fish encountered alive in this film. Killifish and guppies are well adapted to surviving in low oxygen ponds like this. They spend a lot of time at the surface of the water that helps them to extract oxygen from the atmosphere. Killifish, also known as top minnows or punchaks, are a diverse group. Notice that Werner's killifish is more reddish compared to the greenish Day's killifish. Generally, they lack the black spot on the dorsal fin. But both species are very closely related and often look similar and are hard to separate, being more separate by geography than by color. These fish are diurnal, and this pond, being close to brackish water, will sometimes be subject to salt water itself, so these killifish can tolerate brackish or salty water to some extent. Killifish are associated with being able to survive harsh anoxic conditions with little or no water, even sometimes surviving in the puddles in the holes of trees. That's dry fish bait used to attract these fish to our camera. This one looks like a juvenile. There are males, females, and young. See if you can recognize the guppies from Werner's killifish. The guppies will be turning up from time to time as well. Killifish tend to be surface feeders, so it helps that the bait floats on the surface. But these fish will happily eat from the surface and deeper down in the pond at whatever is suitable, from insect larvae such as mosquitoes to small prey that fall onto the surface. There goes a bright male guppy. We know a lot about these fish from the aquarium trade, and fish like this or similar have been bred captively outside Sri Lanka. The underwater view of these fish is actually quite unusual if you live in Sri Lanka. Most of the time these fish are observed from above with that white spot on their broad heads. This male, that turns up quite a few times in this film, seems to have a damaged caudal fin. Maybe it was the victim of an attack. These fish would be preyed on by kingfishers as well as larger fish and other underwater predators. There's another male guppy. This was filmed precisely because there is so little actual footage of wild fish from under the surface of the water in Sri Lanka. But this is how most people see them from the surface, with that little moon spot on their forehead. A colony of flying fox bats above this pond are responsible for the following screeching noises. There's still quite a lot of things we don't know about these fish. They are often threatened by pollution such as pesticides, and they aren't as common as they once were. That applies to most wildlife. This bait is a dehydrated fish head. This looks like a pair with a male in front. And here a single solitary, what appears to be a coconut flower, moves into view. As you can see, these fish are quite small, being no longer than about 3 inches at most. Generally, they are about 2 inches or less. And here, as a delightful surprise, is a Tikiri keelback water snake, identified as such using iNaturalist. The local nursery rhyme featured at the beginning of this video contains the word Tikiri and also the word Diabaria, which means water snake. The nursery rhyme suggests that this snake can bite your leg, but judging by this video, you can see that the snake is quite harmless and the fish have no problem swimming over it. Notice that we can see the snake underneath and the reflection above, and the reflection reveals things that the camera does not show. Yes, the snake was interested in the fish bait offered to attract Werner's killifish and ate some of it. This beautiful snake is regarded as an endemic to Sri Lanka. Observe how the snake anchors itself below the surface by twisting its tail around a stem. The snake is rummaging for food and sometimes having a feel and a nibble. Now we can see the knot that it makes around the stem. The end of the tail is not pointy, but rather somewhat stubby and white. It's not clear if this is how it is naturally or whether the end has been possibly damaged or bitten off. After moving away, we can still see the coils of the serpent in the distance. Maybe we can see it from above. Not much luck there. Trapped bubbles rise from below the mud. That little male guppy The keelback makes a return once more to face the camera. It's a relatively small and quite harmless snake, about 3 feet long. And these days it is far harder to see, let alone film, than these killifish. And here's a surface view of that keelback using another camera. It's usually a freshwater snake, but may be quite happy swimming in the local brackish water as well.
Tikiri 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 liya kalet aran linda tegiya linda watakara kabare goya kakul Maria.